Regular spending minimums allow you to specify a range of time where members must meet a certain spending amount on user-defined items. This can be calculated over a certain range of time, and whatever the difference is between what they spend and what you require them to spend will be billed to their account. The first thing we need to do is set up the rules for minimums and assign them to members. To do so, navigate to Club Management, Club Setup, and Member Fee Billing Types. Then go ahead and select your club. To add a new rule, select Set up another minimum billing type, or select an existing rule to make edits to it. Enter a code in the minimum type field, as well as a description. For the Revenue To field, specify the Revenue GL account where all unspent minimums will be placed at the end of the cycle. You must also select an interest code to be applied to minimums. And if your club does use business areas, make sure you select your business area. The rule can be set up in two different ways. Using date ranges, which are periods that you will be billing minimums and can be monthly, quarterly, or yearly with a set amount per period. These amounts can also be different per period. For example, different amounts for different months of the year. To use this option, specify the start date, end date, and amount. The other option is to set a year starts, year ends, with an annual maximum where the member can spend up to the maximum any time within the year range. Like you see on the screen here, both of these methods can be combined to be used together for different amounts. To assign members to this minimum fee billing type, select Assign Members. This allows you to mass assign this minimum billing code to members. You can search by member number, or import a spreadsheet of members. For the action, choose Update Blank Only, replace existing fields, or override all minimum fields. Then click Update to process, and Yes to continue. The right-hand side of the screen will list all members that have been assigned this minimum fee billing type. To remove a member from the list, double-click on their name or their member number, and use the Delete All button to remove all members from this list. Then go ahead and click Exit. Click OK to save. Repeat these steps to create any other rules for minimums and assign them to members. Another way to assign a minimum fee billing type to an individual member is by navigating over to Club Management, Member File, Setup Edit Members. Select your member, and in the Billing section, use the Minimum Billing field to assign the minimum billing fee type. This option is helpful when setting up new members or making changes on an individual member basis. Then click OK, and OK to save. Once the minimum rules have been defined, sales categories and item groups must be marked to apply to minimums before they can be sold. First, let's look at Point of Sale, System Setup, and Sales Categories. Go ahead and select your category and use the Apply to Minimum field to tell Jonas whether or not you want to apply just the sales and service charges, sales and taxes, or anything before a discount. Then click OK to save. Next, navigate to Club Management, Club Setup, and Item Groups. Select your club and the sales area, as well as the item group. You'll use the similar Apply to Minimum field, which has the same options as sales categories minus the discount option, as there is no option to apply discounts from the Club Management module. Click OK to save. Repeat these steps for all applicable sales categories and item groups that must be applied to minimums. Next, let's take a look at some of the minimum settings by navigating to Club Management, Club Setup, and Basic Club Profile. Select your club, then select Options from the right-hand side of the screen. The minimum settings are as follows. Apply excess minimum to annual minimum. If enabled, will have any excess minimum spent in any of the cycles throughout the year applied to the annual minimum. Apply prepaid minimums in banquet and catering. Select this field to have prepaid minimum payments applied to charges that come from banquet and catering. Use over/underspent in minimum fee. Select this field to have over or under spending in the previous minimum cycle carried forward and apply to the next cycle's calculation. Exempt minimum tax if unused minimum full amount. Select this field to comply with Maryland tax law. Tax will be charged to the unused portion of the minimum spent unless the entire minimum is unused. It will then be tax exempt. Credit overspent and carry forward. Used to allow crediting members who overpay minimums in one period but were billed minimums in a previous period, beginning from the start year date as defined in the minimum billing types. It will also carry forward any unspent minimums from one period to be used against any underspent minimums in subsequent periods until the year end is reached. Note that this option requires all minimum billing types to have the year start and year end date set up. No annual max/minimum field is allowed, and no minimum billing adjustments are allowed in the minimum history screen for any billed periods. Alternate minimum history screen. Select this field to have the minimum screen display minimum cycle dates and better show all cycles when the start/end dates of a cycle don't correspond with a month. Then click OK and OK to save. Once the minimums have been set up, they are ready to start being billed and your members can start spending. You can track a member's spending in Club Management, Member File, Setup Edit Member, or Club Management, Inquiries/Statements/Archives, Member Account Inquiry, both within the Minimum History tab. In some cases, you may need to adjust minimums. This can be due to member complaints, member absence, or incorrect setup. An adjustment can be made in the minimum history screen. Depending on the amount you enter, this will either increase or decrease the amount the member has left to spend. The adjustments do not make any GL postings at all. They just affect the calculation at the end of the month. To view members' billing minimums at the end of your billing cycle, navigate to Club Management, Processing, and Minimum Fee Billing. When you enter the period ending date, it needs to be the end of the cycle that was specified in the minimum fee billing type. This will calculate how much was spent for each member and bill the remainder to their account. Navigate to Club Management, Club Setup, Minimum Fee Billing Types, and click Increase Dates from the right-hand side of the screen. This will adjust all the dates to the following year, so you can go ahead and apply the minimums to member accounts and start billing members.